Our childhood over and over again as adults. Enough. We have to put these things behind us. Now, if your parents weren't in the truth when you were growing up, you might find it easier to put things behind you because you say, well, that's water under the bridge. We weren't in the truth then. My parents didn't know any better. But what if your parents were supposed to be in the truth but weren't good examples? For example, what if your dad appeared to be a loving, kind father at the kingdom home, but at home he was a raging tyrant? And to make things worse, people come up to you and say, do you know how privileged you are to have such a fine man as a father? And you're mumbling under your beard, you should know what's going on at home. It's not really very pleasant. To repeat what we said, you are not condemned to follow the course your parents followed. You can choose to be different. People can change. The Spirit of God can help us change. And anyone who doubts that is underestimating the power of the Spirit of God. Now Hezekiah's apostate father, Ahaz, had been allied with the Assyrians. Now we saw how brutal in warfare they were. What would that have been like? Let's refresh our minds. Well, Hezekiah broke the alliance with Assyria. And 2 Kings 18:7 says, he rebelled against the king of Assyria and refused to serve him. Well, it may have looked like a mistake, because as we heard on the video, the Assyrians had already conquered 46 cities in Judah. So Hezekiah could have gone to Jehovah and complained and said, I did everything right. I knocked down the idols. I knocked down the sacred poles. I cleansed the temple. I got the priests and the Levites organized. I organized a great Passover. And look, why is it, Jehovah, that you're abandoning me to my enemies? But he didn't take that approach. He didn't accuse Jehovah. He was scared, but he put his trust in Jehovah God. And that's something that you and I are going to have to learn. In our day, it takes courage to remain neutral. We heard an interview, I think it was yesterday, a young brother who had a problem with flag salute. Well, in some countries in Africa, that is a real problem. And in some places, our kids are expelled from school if they refuse to salute the flag. In some places in South America, it has been a real problem. In one place, I remember hearing about a young boy, every Monday morning they would have the flag salute. He would refuse to salute the flag. He would be called up and he would be whipped in front of the class. Now, if that had happened to you once, would you be inclined to go back to school on Mondays? He did. And for several times in a row, he was whipped on Mondays, but he maintained his integrity. A couple of years ago, my wife and I had the privilege of serving the branch in South Korea. And I was able to go down to the prison there and give a talk to 50 of our young brothers. And it was just such a joy to see those young men and how they are maintaining their integrity. And you know, the test doesn't end when they get out of prison, because everyone in South Korea has a sort of a workbook. And it gives you all kinds of information about the person. And when you're applying for a job, you have to present this to the personnel office. And when the brothers are released from prison, they get a black mark in that workbook. And it says that they did not complete their military service. And as a result, none of the large companies that pay big money will hire our brothers. How do you think our brothers feel about that? They say, what a blessing. Because if we were hired by these big money companies, they'd want us to work 60, 70, 80 hours a week. But none of them will hire us. So what do? We get jobs as window washers or waiters in restaurants or whatever, and we go pioneering. And some of those young men who have spent a year and a half or two in prison and come out and go pioneering, they are absolutely amazing, and we are able to use them in some very difficult places. Well, what can we do now to develop the courage that we're going to need then? Is it possible that there's some aspect of our ministry that you avoid, perhaps because of a little bit of fear? Can you identify one and then see what you can do about engaging in that form of ministry? It might be doing business territory. Or perhaps there is a territory like the northern estates that we heard about this morning, a territory where people are a bit affluent, and every time the congregation's going there, you manage to have a head cold. Well, why not next time just take a couple of tissues along and go to the northern estates and learn to preach to those people. I was talking to somebody just this weekend. They were talking about an area that they work that is very affluent, and they said that the people there are very nice. They don't have their paradise. They have a nice house. But inside the house, what's happening? The kids are on drugs, the parents are fighting, the husband is working too much, their family life is a mess. Not in every case, but in many cases. These people need Jehovah. These people need the truth. Maybe it's card witnessing that you've been avoiding, or perhaps it's this matter of informal witnessing. You just have a tough time with informal witnessing. Now, you know, I think a brother alluded to this on Friday. Sometimes the angels will see someone praying, ask God to please help him find the truth. And so the angel arranges for us to go to the grocery store or someplace where he can get the two of us together. We may be standing at the checkout line. He's standing in front of us, we're standing behind, and the angel is standing there saying, okay, I've done what I can. Open your mouth, talk, I can't say anything. And sometimes we do, and sometimes we don't. Well, can we overcome that fear, and can we say something? And we've had a wonderful time just this weekend talking to waiters, hotel personnel, and so on. Had a nice conversation last night with one of the waiters. He said he'd come with his daughter today. I hope he managed to do so. But there are lots of opportunities for us to give a witness. So try to overcome that fear. We don't want to be like Kevin in the video. Kevin, his first problem was he didn't want to go where he was known. He didn't want to go where the people were wealthy. And then it ended up, when they had a message of judgment, he didn't want to go at all. Now, Hezekiah undoubtedly faced opposers who urged him to compromise. In the drama, we made Shebna the scapegoat, but Hezekiah didn't give in to the pressure.
King Hezekiah, will you not even now face the facts? You're trapped. We're like birds in a cage. Either we open the door to the cage ourselves, or we we keep it closed until Sennacherib rips it open.
Suggesting that we surrender? I cannot give Jehovah's holy city over to men who taunt the living God, to men who will profane the temple of Jehovah and carry off his spoil, the Ark of the Covenant. No, we will not surrender.
All the cities of Judah have been defeated. Thousands have been taken away. Men, women, children. The Assyrians are at our gate, and you cling to the belief that nothing bad will happen. Do you not understand? You will destroy everything you so hope to preserve. The temple, Jerusalem, our very lives.
I'm not blind to the dangers that we face. I too am afraid. But if Jehovah allows Jerusalem to fall, so be it. How can we give up what belongs to Jehovah?
I have to confess, Hezekiah was a lot nicer to Shebna than I would have been. But what helped Hezekiah to hold fast to Jehovah? He probably reflected on the example of loyal kings like David. It's very likely that he read God's law every day, as kings were asked to do. And we do know that he prayed to God and asked Jehovah God to help him. And then he acted in harmony with his prayer. Now, at one point, as we saw in the drama, the king of Assyria sent threatening letters to Hezekiah. Let's remind ourselves, 2 Kings chapter 19. 2 Kings chapter 19 and verses 14 to 19. So how did Hezekiah react? This is 2 Kings 19, beginning with verse 14. Hezekiah took the letters out of the hand of the messengers and read them. Hezekiah then went up to the house of Jehovah and spread them out before Jehovah. And Hezekiah began to pray before Jehovah and say, O Jehovah, the God of Israel, sitting enthroned above the cherubs, you alone are the true God of all the kingdoms of the earth. You made the heavens and the earth. Incline your ear, O Jehovah, and hear. Open your eyes, O Jehovah, and see. Hear the words that Sennacherib has sent to taunt the living God. It is a fact, O Jehovah, that the kings of Assyria have devastated the nations and their lands, and they have thrown their gods into the fire because they were not gods, but the work of human hands, wood and stone. That is why they could destroy them. But now, O Jehovah our God, please save us out of all his hand, so that all the kingdoms of the earth may know that you alone are God, O Jehovah. Well, that was certainly a prayer of confidence, wasn't it? Hezekiah was under stress, and what did he do? He acted like a real man, a real spiritual man. He took the letters he'd received, he spread them out before Jehovah, and he said, "Oh, Jehovah, this is stronger than I am. What are you going to do? How are you going to help us?" Well, what can we learn from his example? When you are under stress, spread out your concerns before Jehovah in prayer. Ask him to give you the strength to endure. And please know that he is interested in you as an individual. He will treat your prayer in a special way. He will pay personal attention to your prayer. Well, Jehovah rewarded Hezekiah by delivering Judah. Imagine one angel in one night, 185,000 people. Now, by comparison, when the atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima, they say that about 90,000 people perished. But here, one angel, one night, 185,000. Well, when we watch a drama for the first time, it's hard to catch all the details, and we often feel like viewing it again. What do you think we should do about that? Let's release the drama. So our chairman is going to tell us how we can access the video. Well, here's the last point, and that is, how will Jehovah treat his loyal ones in the future? And how can we benefit from God's special treatment now? Well, first of all, there's an abundance of spiritual food out there, and let's take advantage of it. Read your magazines. Don't just listen to JWB and look on the web, jw.org. Do those things. But our magazines provide regular spiritual food that you and I need. We also need to listen to the warnings that Jehovah's organization is giving. I think we would all agree that what we saw this morning in the symposiums and also the drama this afternoon, these are warnings. These are to make us think seriously about what is going to happen in the future. And what a blessing it is for us to know what is happening in the future. Almost every magazine we pick up, every study edition, almost every book we pick up, talks about the destruction of Babylon the Great. It talks about the attack of Gog and Magog. It talks about Armageddon. Why? Just think of it this way. When Babylon the Great goes down, will there be any doubt in your mind what channel taught you that false religion was going to be destroyed? You won't have any doubt. And it won't be a matter of, oh, well, what does this Greek word really mean? Or what does the Hebrew really say in this text? Or what theological argument can we make out of this or that? Babylon the Great is destroyed. The only ones who have been saying that Babylon is going to be destroyed are Jehovah's Witnesses. And so it will be evident that we have the right channel, that we have found the truth. And then when that coalition of nations that we call Gog and Magog, that the Bible calls Gog and Magog, when they assemble to attack God's people, we've been expecting it. Jehovah has told us all along that this is going to happen, and this is the only channel that has been teaching us about the attack of Gog and Magog. And when does the attack occur? Is it something that is decided on the spur of the moment? It occurs when Jehovah decides it will occur. The attack of Gog and Magog happens according to Jehovah's timetable. It may not be according to the nation's timetable. It may be that the nations have no inclination to attack God's people at that point. But what does the Bible say? The Bible says that Jehovah will put hooks in Gog's jaws and draw him out. Now, why would he need a hook? Maybe God doesn't want to go that way. But Jehovah God is going to draw him out. What do we get from that? Jehovah is in complete control of the situation. So then, if Jehovah is in control, we have nothing to fear. And then what happens? Daniel chapter 12 and verse 1. Beautiful. Daniel chapter 12, verse 1. During that time, Armageddon, Michael will stand up, the great prince who is standing on behalf of your people. Well, that's encouraging. He's standing in behalf of our people. And there will occur a time of distress, such as has not occurred since there came to be a nation until that time. Now here's the encouraging part. Underline this. And during that time, your people will escape. Everyone who is found written down in the book. Now, we don't know if every single person will escape with his life, his or her life, with the attack of Gog and Magog, but we certainly know that as a people, Jehovah's people will escape. Now, it'll probably look grim, just as it did when the Israelites were at the Red Sea, with their back to the sea and facing the enemy. Remember that SWAT team we saw this morning? It may be just that scary. But Jehovah, as we just sang, is a provider of escape. Remember the damage that just one angel was able to inflict. And then think about myriads of angels led by Jesus Christ at the War of Armageddon. And after Armageddon, then what? Paradise. During that time, Jehovah will make all things new. And you are going to make thousands of new friends as loyal ones are resurrected from the dead. Can you imagine what it would be like to listen as they tell you how God treated them in a special way? How many unanswered questions will be answered when you hear the details from the source? And I know you want to be there. And you can be there if you are determined to remain loyal to Jehovah.